So we have the December 6th meeting of the Conservation Commission. We'll stand and salute the flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Where's the first bit tonight?
We have Alan Decker here, Mr. Chairman, of Buzzards Bay, for the CR for Meadowbrook Lane.
Alan Decker, Conservation Restriction, Meadowbrook Lane. Come on up, sir. Have a chair? Okay,
You can stay right there.
Come on, stand
we're gonna get you a short seat so you look there and say,
Yeah.
height advantage.
Fair enough. Good evening, everybody. As was commented, I'm Alan Decker with Buzzards Bay Coalition. It's been a long time coming, but this is a conservation restriction project that we got involved with the town on. So I have briefed you on this some time ago, but at long last, the CR has been reviewed by Environmental Affairs up in Boston. And this is, CR, first of all, does anybody need or want a map of the property that we're?
Is that the solar, or the solar farm on?
It-
Yeah, it's the one
It's
to the
close to that.
Yeah.
It's not the parcel where that's
northwest.
located.
All right. That shows shit.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to
Great.
hand out, let me just get a stack of, I think that should cover it. Mr.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, this is conservation restriction. This parcel is currently owned by Buzzards Bay Coalition. We acquired it earlier this year. And what we are proposing is, what we are doing is placing a conservation restriction over the parcel in red. It's an oddly shaped parcel, admittedly. It looks a bit like an odd barbell. But this is a linchpin property in that it will provide access not only to the red parcel for the public for passive recreation, but to the additional assemblage of existing conservation properties along Angeline Brook. That's the focus for us, is the protection of Angeline Brook. The CR, this property does actually protect about 650 linear feet of Angeline Brook, and then obviously its watershed as well. But as you can see, we have we've been involved, but the town has been involved, as well as the Westport Land Conservation Trust, in this assemblage of protected land along Angeline Brook. I worked with Mr. Capone on the conservation restriction. We are not looking to do anything out of the ordinary on this property. We're, as I said, going to open it to public passive recreational activities. We've reserved the ability to create a trail network. There are already social trails on this property. We want to more formalize that, connect them to these other existing conservation lands. We also may undertake some habitat restoration, but beyond that, and the potential for public access amenities, boardwalks perhaps, we are reserving the ability to potentially put in a 10-spot parking lot. This property is accessed off of Meadowbrook Lane there at the north end of the property. The reverse of the locust map shows you the natural resources, coverages that are being protected by this. This is priority habitat, not priority habitat, I'm sorry, it is. That's the yellow cross hatching, and then critical natural landscape is the purple overlay as well. What there's not on this property, but on the map, is the biomap core habitat. But this is just an additional extension of protecting Angeline Brook, which you may know is classified by the state as a cold water fishery resource, a CFR, has a population of native sea-run brook trout in the brook. So I don't want to belabor points or take up any more time than is necessary. Mr. Capone liked the CR that we worked on together, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. But the specific action I'm asking for tonight is for the commission to vote to approve the conservation restriction and hold it on behalf of the town. The next step will be a meeting with the Board of Selectmen seeking their approval of the CR. And I understand that working with the town administrator, Mr. Hartnett, that will happen in January.
All right, thank you. Chris, any questions or comments?
No, I think you surmised it right to a T.
Okay. Questions from anybody at the table?
What are these light tan areas there, are those wetlands?
Those are, yes, sir, those are mapped, those are the mapped DEP wetlands, not necessarily the extent of the wetlands.
Right, taken from aerial photographs, not from on the ground.
Correct, not from
Yeah.
on the ground. This is
Right,
a mapping
right.
layer that Mass GIS makes
Right.
available. So no, there's not ground truthing on this map of the extent of wetlands.
Probably means they are wetlands, but they could be more extensive, you don't know.
Agreed.
Jake?
So is there an access point right now? You said there were some passive trails?
Yeah.
There is an access point. It does front on, as you can see, actually, we were up there the other day. The Meadowbrook Lane comes down and does this split, and on this map, it shows that there's a cul-de-sac there.
Yeah.
Old Farm Road,
Cul-de-sac's
is it?
actually, I'm sorry.
Is it Old Farm Road?
It,
Granite post,
right
Okay,
there,
okay.
it's, yeah,
the
so,
one at the end.
Okay,
yes.
the one at the end, okay.
and what they've
Yeah.
actually done, the developer working in the area, they've eliminated the cul-de-sac
Okay,
and have actually completed, as it shows on here, the loop road
okay.
around. So that's gonna be the access point, right there.
One of the lots in that loop road they purchased.
That's right.
It's one of the first ones on your right-hand side as you pull down the first part of the loop.
My only concern with doing some of these access points, and I've seen with the Westport Land Conservation Trust, is you open up these parking lots and trash gets dumped in there, people hang out in there, and I think that would be my only concern for those neighbors that are, right around there, whatever ends up happening there. But because you see it on the land conservation properties all the time, it's unfortunate, but
No,
you give a vacant parking lot
no,
somewhere, it becomes an issue.
Understood.
Especially in the
We do
neighborhood.
have dedicated staff at the coalition that monitor all of our fee-owned properties.
Yeah.
And this will be added into our assemblage of properties that we definitely keep an eye on. We will certainly respond to inquiries from neighbors if there are issues. We are fully confident that we can keep track of what's going out there, but I understand and appreciate your concern.
Thank you.
The piece that's kind of in the middle there,
Yes,
I mean, it's landlocked, so why wasn't that part of your acquisition, or
different owner.
can I do anything with it though? I mean, there's no access to it now, right?
It's hard for them to get to it
Yeah,
now,
okay,
you're correct.
It's a very stubborn landowner that's been given many offers to sell, and they still to this day.
But he wouldn't take some amount of money knowing
I
that,
think he's worth $1 million. It's Richie Porter. He works on
Speak
boats
to
in
it.
Swansea. He inherited it through his wife.
I mean, part of
I know
something is better than all of
personally-
nothing. He's gonna get nothing for that.
No, he's just,
Okay.
I tried to explain to him as he worked on my outboard the circumstances, but he thinks he's being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I don't
Is-
know
I
where he
didn't
goes.
know that.
Is there any, did you folks, is there hunting allowed on that land when,
So hunting's not prohibited.
not prohibited?
Correct.
Right,
So it's allowed?
it's allowed.
Okay.
We are, yeah, I mean, it is mentioned in the conservation restriction. We will notify during hunting season that there'll be temporary seasonal signs that alert the public
Yeah.
that the property, as long as you comply with state law, is.
Yeah, because that's actually, I don't, but people that run beagles, they have trouble finding pieces of property without roads, because the dogs get hit.
Yep.
That's a nice piece to,
I'm aware.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's
No,
no traffic.
Yeah.
It's not yet, no traffic.
Yeah.
It's not prohibited.
Okay.
All right, looking for a motion, guys?
Motion to approve CR.
Second.
Jake and Jason, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Great.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Do you mind if I hand you a signature? If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Same one?
Okay,
you want to-
Well, if you don't mind, that one actually, it's just bond paper, because I like to record bond paper versus
That is
copies.
certainly fine.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and,
Good luck and have a great night.
yeah, will do. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's working, it's great.
All right.
Next, we have Kyle Pavo, RDA 284 Reed Road. Mr. Pavo here?
His representative, I believe.
Get you a copy of that.
Yeah, that's fine, no worries.
All right. You want me to put the,
If you could put it, lead it loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Lead it.
thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Alan.
You have a copy?
Yep, yep.
I got revised plans,
It was Chris.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too, thanks.
Yeah, no, I'm getting into this. That was the tank change. Go right ahead.
You're all set, sir.
Okay, for the record, my name is Mike Pimentel with JC Engineering. So this project involves, doing a septic system upgrade for an existing three-bedroom home located 284 Reed Road. What we have is the existing home here in the front of the yard. We have a detached shed here and then a driveway that wraps around to the backside. It's a long, slender lot, approximately 37,000 square feet. There's a wetland on the west side of the property, actually just off the property. We show the 25-foot offset from the wetland here. We show the 50-foot here, and then the 100-foot here. There's also a riverfront, from the river in the back there, and the 200-foot riverfront, auto repairing zone runs right along here. What we have is an existing tank that's underneath the driveway, right over here, and it goes into a distribution box on a leaching field. Leaching field is approximately 55 feet or so from the wetland. Most likely it's in the groundwater. The groundwater is extremely high here. So what we did was we did a test pit in this general vicinity here, found the elevation of the groundwater, determined soil conditions, and we designed the septic system to put in this location here. We put the leaching here just to maximize the distance of the wetland as much as possible. So you'll see it's about 74 feet at its closest point to the wetland. So we feel that was the best location for the leaching system. It is a mounted septic system, again, because of the high groundwater. We are proposing to put in a combination tank, a 2,000-gallon tank that's going to have 1,500 gallons in the first compartment, 500 gallons in the second compartment, and it'll pump uphill to your leaching facility here. There might be some dewatering operations that's going to need to happen for installing the septic tank, so we put a little dewatering trap here that comprises hay bales. We also put a row of hay bales just on the downslope, the hillside of the work to, as a precautionary measure, if there's any erosion that tries to make its way to the wetland. As you can see, we tried to design a septic system based on maximum feasible compliance. It meets all the Title V requirements. There's a 5-foot separation of groundwater from the bottom of your leaching to the groundwater. This has gone in front of the Board of Health. Board of Health had a comment on the use of the existing tank. They don't want us to use the tank, they want us to put a new tank. So that's why I provided revised plans to show the new tank. The new tank is going to go in this general vicinity here, just off the edge of the pavement. So it's a pretty simple, straightforward septic system design. As you can see, it's a tremendous improvement to what's there now. And we're basically here to seek approval from the commission before getting approval from the Board of Health and then install the septic system.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members, this is Kyle Pavo, 284 Reed Road. Type of filing is request for determination of applicability. Represented is JC Engineering, who designed the project. Report date is November 22nd, 11/22/22. I got a tongue twister there. Site visit was also 11/22/22. The description of the work, the applicant is filed to upgrade the sewage disposal system with a new Title V design. The site is located on the north side of Reed Road. The site borders the river that lies just 200 feet to the north. The new leaching area will be located to the rear of the existing home adjacent to the former system. The work is within the buffer zone to the wetland, and minor grading is in the outer 200-foot area for that covering of the system. Erosion controls are shown as the limit of work of the dewatering area designated for potential groundwater that may be encountered. Resource areas, this is a buffer zone only project. Recommendations, the Westport Conservation Commission should approve the proposed septic repair with a new Title V design with a negative box 3 determination. Just to make a note that revised plans have been provided showing the new tank. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right, do you have any questions? Any questions from the table? If not, a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve. Making
Second.
Box 3.
All right, we have a motion from Jason, second from Kevin, all those in favor?
Aye.
Vote. What's that?
Who's I?
Oh, okay.
It's an aye.
That's unanimous, now. You're all set.
Excellent, thanks.
Thank you.
Do you want me to mail that document to you, right? Yeah. That would be beneficial. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Andrew Rigo, notice of intent, 1180 Main Road, construct driveway crossing in the bordering vegetative wetland. How you guys doing?
Good. Just send me out the plan, I'll put it up on the board.
This is the latest in the project. This is what we're looking at.
Maybe if you wanna, go over the design, or if you want Chris to do it, you can do it, it's up to you.
Doesn't matter. You wanna go with the design first?
Yeah, basically, I'll do the project description for you. This is Andrew Rigo. He's purchased this property located at 1180 Main Road. This is a notice of intent application before us. The plan before you was designed by Kelly Engineering, Chris Kelly, land surveyors. The report is dated December 2nd, 2022. The file number for this project is SE 802663. There were comments with that issuance discussed. The site visit was also on December 2nd, 2022, as well as a prior date that I met with Andrew and his wetlands representative. The applicant has filed to propose a single-family driveway across a small section of a bordering vegetated wetland. The wetland area has been walked with Jim Walsh and the owner. The flag line is needing soil data to document how it was determined. The soil holes observed appear to be upland despite the presence of some wetland shrub species above the delineation. The applicant's wetlands representative has provided the needed soil data information supporting the delineation, as well as a detailed wetland replication report. These were added to, from comments from partially Mass DEP's issuance of the number. The driveway access will alter 1,650 square feet of bordering vegetated wetland. The replication area is proposed along the south section of the delineation with 1,800 square foot area proposed. The applicant has met the comments provided on the file number issuance. He has provided a planting sequence made up of red maples and high bush blueberry. The soils from the road access will be saved for the depositing into the replication area. Grubbing around some of the mature overstory will provide the shade to benefit the planting efforts. So in representing the access, this is Lars's Way, or formerly known as Allen's Way. To orient you, the Watershed Alliance building, the main road is somewhere in this vicinity. The Santos Farm is right just up the road. The Form A lots they put in are probably just somewhere about here. This is the access of Allen's Way. Andrew bought this frontage piece going up to about, I don't know, it's about 500 foot of frontage. It encompasses 3 lots of the property. He is proposing his single-family home on this lot, coming in on the southerly lot, crossing this wetland system that encompasses this wetland right here. This wetland is associated with a culvert that drains under Allen's Road, Allen's Way rather, and heads into a larger wetland system further beyond. Buffer zone delineation is represented here. This driveway is proposed at 16 feet wide. There'll be slight grading on either side and against the erosion controls that will be established. And there will be also a equalizer pipe put in of a 12-inch HDPE culvert that will have riprap pads on the inlet and the outlet sides. The replication is here, adjacent to flags 108 through 110. This will be grubbed out and will be allowed to be the spoils from this operation deposited in here with the sequencing of plantings as specified in these replication notes provided by Jim Walsh. So the plan was lacking some of those, as well as this cross-section. Those are the comments that the DEP had on representing following 10.55, which is the language in the Wetlands Protection Act for replication procedures. So with that said, recommendations for the board, again, this is a BVW impact. It's minor in nature. The recommendations, Westport Conservation Commission should make a motion to approve the driveway access for a single-family home. He has provided the plans, but contingent on the applicant providing a revised plan showing the wetland cross-section with a notation of the planting schedule proposed with standard conditions. Replication requires a 2-year growing season, and the replication to be monitored with reports provided after the first and second growing seasons. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
You guys have any questions on it? No? You're all set?
Well said, Chris, thank you.
Do you have any in the audience have a question? No? All right, anybody at the table?
Would be, I guess it would be helpful to know where the house is going, right? Because if the,
This house encompasses the largest parcel of land, so Andrew's house is nowhere near the road. It's actually gonna be about 1,600 feet up in the back. He owns an L fashion on this lot that comes in like this and goes up this way, so his house is gonna be up in this area. So the crossing is basically encompassing.
but then after that crossing, it's all upland?
Yep.
It wouldn't, so the house location.
It has no
would-
jurisdiction with us.
With us, okay, all
Because
right.
the only jurisdiction on the property is this corner, actually the wetland ends right here, so this is the only corner of
Got it,
wetland
okay.
on this
I
parcel.
just wouldn't want to see you spend all the money on a driveway and then
No,
end up
no.
in a jam with the house location,
No.
so.
The only other indication I did mention to him that he's doing some work here is there's a buffer zone from Lars's Way, because their wetland goes right up this way and turns here. So he's aware now that there may be, it's very close just being onto the property, but
Yeah.
he is basically removing dead gypsy moth damaged trees at the present time.
So are those other two lots part of this?
These
The
are
front.
one parcel as a whole that he's keeping as a
Okay.
whole right now.
And there's no other access to those other lots?
No, this is just a total frontage piece, right? He has no access off Lars Way. That is a private road and he has no access to that.
Anybody else?
So I guess I'll make a motion to approve contingent upon providing a revised plan showing the wetlands cross-section. Yeah. So motion to approve contingent upon Chris's recommendations. Fair enough.
A second.
Thank you, Bart. Jason, Bart. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimous, too. Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll talk. Yeah. Thank you very much. I will leave in that one with me. All right, because that's, I couldn't print the other one, so this one I'll have to find it out. Thank you very much.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Night.
Okay, Bianca Silva, notice of intent, 11 Joanne's Way. Construct a single-family dwelling, utilities grading the public zone, construct driveway across stream, completion of box culvert replication. How are you doing, Steve?
Very good. Again, for the record, Steve Giosa with Civil and Environmental Consultants. With me tonight is also Allison Cesar from Civil and Environmental Consultants, representing the applicants this evening. This is a lot at the end of Joanne's Way. Joanne's Way is a subdivision that was approved a number of years ago, constructed. Most of the houses have been built. This is a fairly large parcel right at the end of Joanne's Way off the cul-de-sac. As you come off the cul-de-sac, there's a small detention basin just to the right of a common driveway. The driveway provides access to a lot just before the wetlands and then also provides access to the subject lot. There's an existing cart path and a small stone culvert crossing of the stream. The plan you see before you depicts the wetland resource area with a little green shading, bordering vegetated wetland. There's also the stream itself, which is highlighted in blue. It's got about a 5-foot cross-section, and we've selected the location for the crossing to provide access to the buildable portion of the lot, to coincide with that existing stream crossing. And the DEP guidelines for that type of a activity requires that we look at the bank full width of the stream, in this case approximately 5 feet, multiply that times 1.2, that gets us to a required culvert crossing of 6 feet. We think that's kind of tight to the stream, so we actually have a 10-foot box culvert proposed in this location to create the span across the wetlands. And you'll see that the alteration area within the wetlands would be associated with the driveway crossing here. That alteration represents about 3,700 square feet. We are proposing replication here. And the commission may recall, maybe not, that this actually had been previously approved as a crossing a number of years ago, when the prior owner put forward this plan. So we've kind of mirrored that exact design, but in this case, the owners have selected a location for their home, proposed single-family dwelling here in the back, an in-ground pool, and a pool house. Those elements are outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. The 100-foot buffer zone depicted in yellow on the plan. There would be a nitrogen removal septic system proposed for this location, and that septic system and its associated components are also outside of the 100-foot buffer zone to any of the associated resource areas. And so this is a application primarily for the driveway access within the jurisdictional area of both the buffer zone and the BVW and the intermittent stream crossing. We have, at the request of Chris and the DEP, added information regarding the sizing of the box culvert. This is an open bottom box culvert, so that it's not your conventional piping underneath the driveway. So it does meet that performance standard. We've also added the wetland replication area cross-section as requested. That is now depicted on the plan. And we have erosion control both at the replication area and along the proposed driveway crossing through the buffer zone to create that temporary construction protection of the resource area. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
There's gonna be 2 lots too. wasn't
It was originally 2 lots that were going to be created beyond here. We have consolidated that. This is now just a single parcel of land, and there would only be a single home built in this area.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members, Bianca Silva, on Lot 11, Joanne's Way. As Steve mentioned, this is the last lot at the end of an easement off the cul-de-sac to Joanne's Way. This is a notice of intent application filed by CEC, and Steve Giosa is here representing. The report date is December 1st, 2022. There is a file number SE 802664. The site visit was also on December 1st, 2022. Detailed description of the work. The owner has purchased the back parcel, Lot 11 in Joanne's Way subdivision. The lot is accessed via an old cart path that crosses the intermittent stream. The driveway will be constructed within the access easement established with the approval of the development. The driveway will alter 3,700 square feet of bordered vegetated wetland and the associated land subject to flooding. The replication is shown providing 3,700 square feet of replicated area with a planting sequence utilizing 3 native wetland species on red maple, winterberry, and high bush blueberry. The Mass DEP comments with the file number issuance needs to be clarified. As Steve mentioned, he has filed that further explanation with a narrative and the cross-section of that wetland replication area. The crossing of the intermittent stream must meet the stream crossing minimum standards. The stream crossing standards require 1.2 times bankful width be provided. The applicant's representative has provided a narrative on the scope of the project. This includes the explanation of the width of the culvert meeting the standards of 1.2 times the width required. As Steve mentioned, that is approximately 10 feet. My concern with this one is that there is adequate area, because this does get a good flow to it when we have substantial rain. So that increase in size, not only beneficial for wildlife to be able to walk on either side of the stream without wading in it, but also in those high flow times, to keep the water contained, and not undermining anything else. With the bridge establishment, that protects, the integrity of that crossing, much more significantly. Again, the wetland cross-section was added to the plan. It's in the lower-hand corner of that, representative area. Recommendations: Westport Conservation Commission should approve the proposed driveway crossing with standard conditions. That would be monitoring reports provided first and second growing seasons, and the replication completed immediately following the access crossing installation. That would ensure that at least it gets grubbed out and it's prepared prior to them constructing their home and not considering the replication. So that is all, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions, Steve?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Questions, guys?
Mhm.
I know it's a beautiful house location. You guys just don't have anything to say? I don't blame you. I'm saying the same thing.
Well, we're thinking that it's prime hunting area, it would be.
No, that's
There's
what
no house.
Jason made me think.
There's no
House
house
is
in
too
the-
close.
Gonna scare the deer away.
Yeah.
That's what they like. Houses. No,
Not penny arborvitae for 'em. All right, if no one has questions, we have a motion?
I move we approve the proposed driveway crossing with standard conditions, requiring monitoring reports, first and second growing season, and replication completed immediately following the
Thank you,
access
Carl.
crossing.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Kevin. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's
Opposed.
unanimous.
I'm
That's-
Jake.
Yeah, four approval, one Jake
I
approval.
can't in good conscience keep supporting it.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
That was on the fence too. I mean, every last inch of, they're gonna go through every last inch of wetlands in this town. It's ridiculous.
Well, one house instead of two now, because it was approved
yeah,
for two.
Yeah.
that is a plus.
It was approved for two.
Might as well put a solar field there too.
Consolation prize.
All right.
Someone tells me that something is
Thank you, Alex.
prohibited.
Yeah.
Are you here for Amanda Rodriguez?
No,
All
no.
Let's do other one, let's do, Robert, oh, let's continue, isn't it, Amanda?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Amanda
Lucky for her.
Rodriguez, notice of intent, 156 Cherry Wood Lane, SE 82657, construct wooden stairway and platform over the dunes, that's gonna be continued for 2 weeks?
Yes, Mr.
20th?
Chairman, but we need to talk about if we're having a meeting in 2 weeks. I want to make-
12/20, what day is that? I know,
It's a
20th?
Tuesday. It's-
Tuesday before Christmas, I already have, I'll be here.
Okay, I just wanted to know if we had a quorum before I have,
You know, Santa isn't real.
I have a healthy ditch.
Hey, the camera's on.
We got everyone going away.
Why you gotta be like that?
There's probably a bunch of kids at home watching this awesome program.
He's all excited.
He just-
He was like, stop.
It was either this or Sesame Street.
Yes, he does, because I was on the train this time, and I picked him up.
Though, what I was saying was bad.
I'm excited.
All right.
We can still get our business.
The following meeting's January 3rd, so I don't know if you guys are gonna be at that one. I'm just,
Yeah, I'll be going out, yeah.
I don't know how your vacations are.
Well, you guys all gonna be at 12/20?
I plan on being here.
Playing Santa for the.
Thank you.
I'll be
Bert,
here.
you'll be here, right?
On the
I think I'll
20th?
be here.
Yeah. Jake and I will, right?
Boardwalk's on there, I'll be here.
What's that?
If the boardwalk's on, I'll be here.
Yeah, that,
Listen, I think we should have it 12/27. Yeah. All right, yeah, so let's continue to 12/20 then.
there we go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to continue to 12/20, please.
Motion
Second?
to do 12:20.
Yeah, second.
Second. Kevin, all in favor? Opposed? That's unanimous, Salem.
Can I just ask one question? Do any members have a chance to just, I'm not against this boardwalk, I'm just against some aspects of it because the place is so volatile because of the no vegetation existing, and I'm trying to have the applicant's representative understand that most likely anything you do here is a potential to be covered with sand because there is no vegetation to slow it down. So they're trying to, and the Natural Heritage didn't help us in this one. On the last Miranda one, they asked for signage and a path. On this approval, they didn't even mention that. So I am gonna ask them as a condition, but I thought they would be consistent because this is, that's why I wanted the members to
These are
know.
like a quarter mile.
Because you know, when you go up over the hill to
Yeah.
get to the top of the dune,
You
it's
go to-
fine.
go to Death
But then you
Valley.
go downhill.
Yeah.
That's a quarter mile to Death Valley.
And then you
Go
turn
west.
around at that point and try to go back up the hill, you need a boardwalk
Yeah.
there as well, so I wanted the person to understand that this isn't gonna be like an area to recreate in and throw the tennis ball for the dog. I didn't know how they were gonna treat it, so.
Burnt Christmas trees, burnt
My
flowers.
concern was just to have them stay on a path, so I wanted to have Sean stake it out, which I've urged him to stake the whole length of that, and we can decide what's best, but if any members would like to take a walk, I would be willing to take you, and you can,
It's a tough area.
it is not the best. See, with the Miranda, just in perspective, his was very stable, it had vegetation, although it was, you know, a very obnoxious proposal at first, it still was a very vegetated and stable area.
Complicated proposal.
Complicated, that's better.
You were gonna say that word, you just didn't pop in your head fast enough.
Nothing seems to be popping in my head. Except Santa's coming. Santa's coming, everyone.
No, he's not real, according to Jason. You're such a heel. All right,
Don't wanna keep people waiting
Yeah,
unnecessarily.
I know, we're getting comical here,
all right, Robert Bronca, notice of intent, 2015 Main Road, construct natural stone patio on riverfront.
Sorry, Steve.
It's okay.
Steve, you
It's
leave-
always entertaining.
You
We're,
agree, Santa?
we're at least real.
Yes, I do.
Santa's coming for you this year?
Absolutely.
It is.
First chapter,
Coming in
we had a
February.
discussion before the meeting about Santa, so we're all set.
Coming in February, right, Steve?
Absolutely.
February what, 28th? When is it?
The 24th.
24th?
Aruba.
No, I'll be back to torture you folks. I'll be a member of the audience.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Again, for the record, Steve Giosa with Civil and Environmental Consultants. This is the Bronca property located at 2015 Main Road. You actually reviewed for this property a dock proposal earlier this year. The applicant has decided to do a small landscape flat stone patio in an area of existing lawn area. That would be located down here, adjacent to the shoreline. So it is within a riverfront area, it's within the coastal floodplain, within 100 feet of the coastal bank, but it's an existing disturbed area of the site with lawn. The proposal would be to add some landscaping on the edge of the proposal, the south side of the patio area, and then just placing natural stones flush with the ground, turf in between, so not mortared in place. Really trying to keep it look natural as a contemplative area for the owners. And we would like to have permission, but it is within a jurisdictional area. There'd be no proposed grade changes, and we're actually eliminating a little bit of lawn adjacent to the river. So that's the proposal before you.
Mr. Chairman, Robert Bronca, 2015 Main Road, this is a notice of intent application. As Steve Giosa mentioned, this project, I'm surprised it didn't come in on another one of his NOIs. I found that it was, could have been fitted into something he previously had filed, but this is acceptable. The owner is requesting to install a patio. It's basically a stone placed patio on existing grade with grass growing in between the stones, so with a fire pit, and I think we see a lot of people having these that didn't even file. So I'm supporting of the area, which is approximately 23 by 28. If the applicant wishes to enhance the area with some plantings, I am in favor of that for screenage and some privacy. But I see no issues with the patio and its proximity to the river for adverse effects to that system, seeing it is mature mowed lawn right to that edge. This is a riverfront area, flood zone, and a buffer zone to the Westport River. Recommendations, the Westport Conservation should approve the proposed fieldstone patio with turf joints, work to be seeded immediately after construction, and erosion controls to be installed along the lower area during that activity. There is a file on Mr. Chairman, it's on the envelope, and it's been a while. It's SC
2662.
2662. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is all, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions, Steve?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions from the table, or a motion?
The geese gonna love it.
Put a hose down there, wash it
There's a
up.
problem down there.
Bert, did you just make a motion?
I didn't.
Oh, okay, fine. Sorry. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
I second it.
All in
There it is.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank
I'll go abstain.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Abstention by Mr. Chairman. Thank you, guys.
Good night, Steve. And good night. Merry Christmas, Steve, too. Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't ask
I know
Jason.
everybody's in the Christmas spirit.
Don't ask Jason.
Except for Ebenezer
Jason.
Scrooge.
Yeah, Scrooge, I'm the Grinch.
No candy for you kids.
I celebrate Kwanzaa.
All right. Certificate of compliance. First one is Risa Sperling, SE 802343, 147 West Beach Road.
Mr. Chairman, this is Risa Sperling, and her husband built a house on stilts on 143 West Beach Road. This is a request for a certificate of compliance for file number SE 802343. The plan was designed by Haru Engineering. Alan Haru, the engineer of record, has provided a letter stating the project has met all the requirements as designed. That includes the elevations that were depicted in the approval by the ZBA as maintaining elevations similar to what was maintained at the street level. The structure as built shows the proper elevated height, and the planting surroundings are all coastal species. Additional plantings for the special condition have also been completed and established. So the applicant is very cooperative and have met the design criteria. Recommendations, Westport Conservation should approve a full certificate of compliance for the single-family home in the Velocity Zone for file number SE 802343.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to
Second.
issue.
Okay, second from Jake. All those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
All right. Just leave this sticky note on there, guys, please, so you don't mind. Okay, we have Robert Orban, SE 802649, 87 Robert Street.
Correct. This is a certificate of compliance, Mr. Chairman, 87 Robert Street. AUB Engineering was the designer of record. He has also provided a letter stating that all work for the septic system installation has been completed according to the plan of record. This is for file number SE 802649, and this is a sewage disposal repair for the existing home. Recommendations, Westport Conservation Commission should issue a full certificate of compliance for file number SE 802649, Robert Orban, 87 Robert Street.
Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Jake and Jason, all in favor? Opposed? All right, it's unanimous. Next, we have John Boger, SE 802093, 113 East Beach Road.
Correct, Mr. Chairman. This is an extension request by John Broder, 113 East Beach Road. Mr. Broder has maintained an order of conditions SE 802093 for quite some time. This is representing of activities on the East Beach area. The owner has filed to extend the existing order of conditions for 3 years. The owner is in good standings with his trailer property. Recommendations, Westport Conservation Commission should issue a 3-year extension to file number SE 802093, John Broder. 113 East Beach Road.
All right. We have a motion?
So Chris, that lot is tidy and
Correct.
in compliance?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of them aren't.
This season,
all.
if you notice, they look much better.
They
I
do.
thought.
Yes.
I did. I thought it
Mhm.
was.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's a
Agreed.
relative
They
term, I
have,
guess.
they have really been cooperative.
Relatively, yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
it's like buckets and, you know, barrels and gas cans.
Well, they
and-
pile those up so you can't see them until the rain and the wind
Yeah.
come.
Jason, get up on the wrong side.
Make it look cranky.
Motion,
He's a cranky Yankee.
Yeah.
We have a motion, Jake?
motion to approve.
Second.
Second from cranky Yankee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Someone that's still their reindeer freezer, they should be excited.
I drove down there during one of those storms, and it was all just
Everything whipping around.
stuff floating around everywhere, like there's junk everywhere.
I know.
The stuff that like just never belonged there.
Did you find it in the pond behind it?
It was like the waves were crashing over the road, and or, like flower pots and stuff. Junk everywhere.
Give it a free gas can?
No, they had water in them already, so the gas was no good.
Anthony Vivenzio, SE 80, 1797, 134 East Beach Road. Well, this is an extension as well.
Correct, Mr. Chairman. This is an extension for Anthony Vivenzio, 134 East Beach Road. Extension to his order of conditions, SE 801797. The owner has applied to extend the order of conditions for 3 years. The applicant is also in good standings with his trailer permit requirements. Recommendation, Westport Conservation Commission should vote to approve the 3-year extension, file number SC 801797, Anthony Vivenzio.
How many times are we extending these before they file something new, or are we just gonna?
That is something I think we're gonna be considering coming. I want people to still be cooperative, but also we have been very cooperative, because these orders have changed hands, and we're still allowing them to exist. So I agree with Mr. Chairman. I think we're probably gonna be seeing us coming.
Well,
I
extension,
just been waiting for the storm of all storms, but it just doesn't seem to cooperate with us.
Well, that's not very nice.
the extension is the same price as a regular NOI, right?
Yes, yeah, so, but again, truthfully, you are right, we've extended some of these for
I
like
think
12
this
years.
one was in, this thing's 1997.
Yeah, they've been, Vivenzio?
Well, no, this is someone else, well,
Yeah,
it belonged to somebody else originally,
yeah, so I do agree with you.
Benton.
I mean, so could some be so old that those order of conditions wouldn't be permittable now if the laws
No,
have changed?
not necessarily to that aspect, no.
Okay.
Because the beach nourishment aspect has always been the same, it's beach compatible material.
So when we grant these extensions, like, everything that we're allowing to extend is still permissible?
Valid.
Yeah, valid.
We do it because the season comes quickly, and believe me, there's a ton of people that have asked me for help, and they didn't even have beach nourishment, and they've done. One gentleman wanted to leave his deck there, and I'm like, listen, you built this deck when you did work on the beach, you don't even have an order of conditions. I said, I can't go up, so, but there are people that then again take it, and truthfully, I thought, Jason, honestly, that the things looked a little cleaner this year. I know the Board of Selectmen have been very particular about what's left behind, including the water tanks, and so I thought, from a
No,
perspective.
all kidding aside, the junk isn't evenly distributed. It's not like everyone has junk.
No,
They're
no.
either really tidy and well-kept, or
Yes.
untidy and very
Yes.
unkept.
So,
So, yeah.
Great.
we've been
Yeah.
trying to make
Yeah.
improvements. And again, they're still pending decisions with the selectmen and lawyers in respect to how they are different from another single-family lot in town. So that's where they're trying to determine.
I think, yeah, so I think we should give them whatever, 2, 3 extensions, you know.
We can definitely consider that, I
Yeah.
agree.
All right, looking for a motion?
Motion to approve the extension.
Second from Jason, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous, now. Okay, we have one bill, $300 for 6 months of cell phone for Mr. Capone. 5 months.
Yeah,
Sorry, 5 months.
I'm way behind.
Looking for a motion to pay.
Motion to pay.
Second.
Second for Jake, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
No
that's
problem. I'd like to check those text messages.
I wasn't checking the browser history. Seconds, like, two.
Can we get your copy like that, Mr.?
Yeah, and all communications,
Absolutely.
please, thank you.
Via, you want me to share them with you from now on?
Yeah, just CC me on all of them. Okay, so we have minutes from,
Put his laptop.
November 8th. Present. Tom, Kevin, Jake, Bill, Jason, Burton, and Paul. So we do have enough to vote on this.
Yeah, no.
So let's vote to approve the 11-8 minutes unless someone has a change, which no one said in almost over a month, so I'm assuming there are none. So I'll accept the motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Second from Kevin, all those in favor, opposed? All right, who wasn't here again? You were all there. Yeah. All right, so just sign the, Chris's, bill for his, God knows what he does with that thing. All right. Hey, Chris, what do you have tonight for us?
The only thing I want to bring to your attention is the state finally issued the enforcement order to Manny and Carolyn Ferry on Old Pine Hill Road.
We saw that.
Yeah.
That's probably a couple weeks too late, but they, hopefully will move forward in a positive direction. There is consideration for a replication of all the altered areas, so we'll see where that leads to at this time.
How about the sludge?
The sludge is still pending discussion. I don't know what's gonna come of that at this time. There was discussion that there was a big concern for it, but when it comes to agricultural, that's when they back off a little bit. So they did see where the sludge was placed. It wasn't placed in the agricultural area, in my opinion, where it was placed. It's placed in a BVW along the perimeter of the barn area for the most part. That's where a majority of the materials were placed before the state entered into action against them. Some was placed in the agricultural area that they're proposing up in the northeast, but the area I'm concerned with is what they put right in the BVW, and hopefully that area can't be argued, because that wetland line that was definitely established at the time when there was nothing in there. The other wetland area was in some ways conservative. If you recall, when this solar project came in, there was some variable where the wetland was. I argued and I was able to prove that there was much more wetland there. Well, with this opening and the order expired, obviously it lets them come in with a new delineation. So I will be hatching that around once they come in with it, with the state, to make sure they replicate everything that I think is wetland. So that's where we stand now.
Now, how did it get removed from Rehoboth? I know the state ordered, but was that in wetland?
The state in Rehoboth was entirely in a wetland system. A full-fledged 7 acres of virgin wetland forest was filled. So they're making them remove all of it. So we'll see what happens. They know the same product and the same company is what came to Westport. So I'm not sure where it's gonna lead.
Has there been any discussion at the state level about whether or not there's PFAS in that sludge?
From what I asked Gary on his testing of Rehoboth's material, it was clean. So they hadn't made them test it, but despite that, they're pulling it out because it's in the wetland. If you knew this area across, it's right behind Rotundo, where Rotundo is on 195. I've hunted in there. It's terrible. I can't believe that but anyways, I think the Prey family owned that one. But that is where that one is slightly different. This area that they used it in Ferry's sense was agricultural use area. But again, it was put in some areas that weren't in agricultural use. So the enforcement action is there. They have ceased work now, and we'll move forward to getting it rectified.
All right.
The next thing, there was a partial discussion with on Brian Corey submitting some emails, Mr. Chairman. I think you saw them. But it appears that Brian doesn't read the email you send him, so he kind of keeps making the same. this DEP is involved in this well process right now, so it's not up to us to decide what he should be doing.
They have to wait for the appeal to be over, so we can see what the appeal wants to do.
Well, what we're asking him to be prepared for is when he comes in for his NOI to hook up to the wells, that he's gonna need this information. So it's in his best interest to get this information for us now. So that's what he is attempting to do, but he's still in a decision with DEP, so he shouldn't be negotiating with us on the other side, if you know what I'm saying. It should be through DEP.
Wasn't that part of his original appeal that he doesn't think he should have to come back and he should, that part?
That hasn't really been presented in an argument yet.
I mean,
But yes, yeah, I think, because he was going back on the old delineation, we
Right.
agreed to a delineation between the two. So this last part, I guess, maybe tentatively is in the air,
So
but.
we're gonna sit tight and see what these state.
You saw me ask him to
Yeah.
put it on a letterhead, because what he sent wasn't even look professional. It looked like something that someone, did on
Right.
Microsoft Word. It didn't have any signature or anything. So if he put it in a more professional setting, I could let George Campbell review, and if he wants both parties in the field to get together, we can make that happen. But I still think DEP should be the one that gives him some guidance while this is still under their
Right, that's
review.
assuming that our decision stands, because if it doesn't stand, then he has to take care of that before he gets to the.
Correct.
So
So
we're gonna sit tight until.
sit tight. I know Phil wanted me to just bring it up, but I also wanted, I wanted to wait till Phil came so we could explain it a little more in detail, that DEP is the final overseer until he moves forward a new NOI. He's still
Right,
stuck in neutral with this one.
correct. All right. Any other questions? Chris, you have thoughts?
That's all.
Any questions, guys? Points of interest?
You have any more revelations, Jason, for the crowd?
I don't.
Is the Easter Bunny
Easter
there?
Bunny.
Any other spoiler alerts you got?
Halloween's real. A lot of witches out there.
All right, look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you, Valerie.